What up on a Monday night? Playoff basketball, playoff pro basketball is going on right now. And it is action, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you, it is action. We have now moved on to the semifinals. The first round is already over with, done. It's gone as I expected. We had a couple, just a few. We had a couple of games that went a little bit further than what I thought they were going to go, but for the most part, it went as expected. But I want to get, I want to start this conversation tonight with saying that I'm on here a lot. I'm on here probably 2-3 times a week, and some people are confused about what's going on with the channel, and we've added some things. And we're moving some stuff around, but I'm still here. Excuse me. Yes, I am still here, and I'm still doing it. But it could be confusing. But I feel like we got it figured out. So, excuse me. So, with that being said, let's discuss how you handle yourself when you lose. Like when you lose, in order to be a professional as a winner, you have to be a gracious loser. You have to be. And one of the things that I can't do if I lose is be a sourpuss. What I mean when I say that is I'm saying a whole bunch of stuff that really doesn't matter. When I lose, I'm saying a bunch of things that aren't necessarily true when I lose. And when I think about this whole situation that's going on in Miami, we're talking about a guy in Jimmy Butler who stepped out of line. And with him stepping out of line, what ended up happening? The boss had to step in. And the guy who stepped in was the guy who only answers to the dude who signs the checks. That was it. Nobody else, right? The guy who stepped in is the guy who only answers to the guy who signs the checks. Now, for you to say, well, if I was playing, we would have beat Boston and the Knicks, Josh Hart. Well, number one, you weren't playing. So we can start and stop the conversation right there. You didn't play. So you didn't have any effect on the series. None whatsoever. We can start and stop the conversation with that right there. You didn't have any effect on the series. None. So, plus, if you would have played, let's just say for the sake of argument, you would have played. This Miami Heat team, I just want to make sure that I'm understanding this correctly for some clarification. This Miami Heat team, who won 4 to 5 games, with winning 4 of these 5 games, we're down 34, 29, 34, 29, 28, and 38. That was in game 1. Game 3, game 4, and game 5. That's an average margin of 34 a game that they were down. So what we're going to do is we're going to add you to the roster. And not only are you going to alleviate that domination, you're going to solve it. And they're going to win the series. Your team's going to win the series by adding you and Terry Rozier, who, by the way, we haven't seen in 6 years in the playoffs. We haven't seen him in 6 years. You are going to alleviate that domination. So if that's true, I have to believe. I'm not saying that I should believe it. I'm not saying that it's possible. I got to believe you're the best player on the planet. I have to believe that. Because there's no way possible that a team gets dominated like that and they add one thing to the roster, which is you, one thing to the roster, and not only does that solve the problem, And not only does that solve the problem, it handles them. There's no way that you don't believe if he says what he says is true. There's no way that you don't believe Jimmy Butler is the best player on the planet. Because I don't see Giannis doing that. I don't see Joker doing that. I don't see Luka doing that. I don't see Joel Embiid doing that. I don't see Jason Tatum doing that. I don't see Steph Curry doing that. I don't see Kevin Durant doing that. I don't see James, even at his advanced age, doing that. I don't see Anthony Edwards doing that. I don't see Donovan Mitchell. I don't see SGA. I don't see Anthony Davis doing that. All of these dudes doing. I don't see any of these dudes doing that. But you are telling us, you, sir, are telling us that not only do you solve the problem, but we beat them dudes. You are the difference maker. Your crew was dominated. And all you would have added, you in particular, all you would have done was make the series interesting. That's it. They still would have beaten you guys because your offense in Miami is the reason why I was at the bottom of the league. It's not because of the action, because Spo had drawn up great action. The problem is the production in it. There's your issue. It has nothing to do with the actual action. You guys run good action. You don't really get that much production. So I gotta believe that ultimately what you're doing and what you're trying to sell is you're just gonna tough this one out. I can get you a 50-point game. I can get you a 40-point game, and that's gonna be the difference. The Miami Heat way, the Miami Heat culture, I can appreciate it. Professionalism, hard work, all of that good stuff. On time, tough guys, dirty work guys, professional, never quit. I can appreciate all of that. But when you don't have the personnel to compete with this, which you didn't, in that series, you did not have the personnel to compete with them. Just like what happened against the Denver Nuggets. It's the same thing. You didn't have the personnel to compete with them. And to think that you, in particular, you, sir, were going to be the difference in not only alleviating that lead, you win the series, you have to believe Jimmy Butler's the best player on the planet. You have to, because Giannis ain't doing that. We're talking about a Miami Heat team that has one of the worst offenses in the league. One of the worst. They're at the bottom of the league in offense. I think that they were in the bottom 10 this season in offense. I think they were 21st. Yeah, they were in the bottom 10 in offense. So with that being said, add Jimmy Butler to the roster, and that goes up. But you don't add Jimmy Butler to the roster because he's already on the roster when they're in the bottom 10. Already on the roster when they're in the bottom 10. So now you telling me that you're going to go up against that Boston Celtic team, the juggernaut that they are, and how they essentially smoked you dudes without you, smoked you. You're gonna not only alleviate that deficit, which is, by the way, on average 34 a game. You basically wipe that out. That's what you do. You wipe out the 34 game leads that they had at one point. I'm having a difficult time believing that a team that can put you 34 in a hold on average, one guy is going to make the difference and win the series. One guy. Because I'm not counting on Terry Rozier. I ain't seen him in the playoffs in 6 years. And when I saw him in the playoffs, he did outplay Eric Bledsoe. I will tell you that. Yes, he did. I thought he did a damn good job on Eric Bledsoe. However, Drew Holiday ain't Eric Bledsoe. No, he is not. Drew Holiday is not Eric Bledsoe, which would explain why they won the NBA championship in 21, because they upgraded that roster. So when I think about the boss basically stepping in and saying, yo, keep your mouth shut, he's 100% right. Now, some people might get a little bit offended, and some people might, there's trouble in paradise. No, it ain't. No, it's not. Sometimes, I don't know whether you like it or not, but sometimes the boss has to say, "Hey, shut the hell up." That happens. Now I can appreciate, I make 35, I make $40 million. So we all have somebody to answer to. And as much money as you make, you still work for the Miami Heat. So shut the hell up. Because you're not that good. You're not. As good as you are, and you're a fine player, Jimmy Butler, I will not argue that. You are a fine player. You ain't that good. No. I don't think so. No way. Speaking of being that good, we have ourselves a series, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, we do. We have ourselves a series. I've always subscribed to the ideology that the series doesn't start until the home team loses. Well, it looks like the series started on Saturday night. Yes, it did. The series looks like it started on Saturday night. And that Minnesota team looks like they didn't come to play. They came to win. They're not playing games. They are not. They came to win. Their defense travels. Not only does their defense travel, but Anthony Edwards offensively, as a scorer, he's becoming elite. And when I say elite, I don't mean like top 15, because I think if you're a top 15 scorer in the league, I think you're elite. I think that as these playoffs go on, I think he's becoming more and more elite. He's already an elite scorer. I feel like the game, I don't think the game is slowing down for him because he still plays at a fast pace, but I feel like he looks at the competition differently. The way he looks on the floor, the way he gets to the spots that he needs to get to, whether it's in the mid-range, whether it's in transition, whoever is standing in front of him, how he attacks them one-on-one, knowing for a fact Bradley Beal can't stay in front of me. And I can get to the basket on him whenever I feel like it. If I get this switch with Aaron Gordon on me, I don't have to give him a bunch of different combinations. I could give him one or two combinations, a left to right cross, and then a right to left cross, and then a pull-up. I don't have to do a lot of extracurricular stuff with these guys. And the reason why I don't have to do a lot of extracurricular stuff with these guys is because I'm confident in my one-on-one game. I'm confident in how well I can score the basketball. And he's shown that. I feel like he's shown that. So he, as time goes on, is becoming more elite. Now, a guy that I don't think that we talk about nearly as much, but we should, that would be none other than Rudy Gobert. Because the Minnesota Timberwolves, their staple is their defense. And that's what it's been all year long. And he's the anchor of that. He's not a good defender. He's not a great defender. He's their anchor defensively. He's the reason why Anthony Edwards, why Jaden McDaniels, why Alexander Walker, why Naz Reid. He's the reason why these guys are better defensively. Because when you got a guy like Rudy Gobert who can man the paint the way he does, who protects the rim, who helps on defense, not just helps on defense, who also helps himself. When you have a guy in the paint who mans that sort of stuff, it makes my job less difficult. So a guy like Jaden McDaniels, who is dealing with Michael Porter Jr., who the Lakers couldn't solve that problem. The Lakers couldn't solve that problem, one, because they didn't have the size. Two, they weren't very good in transition defensively. Minnesota, on the other hand, is very much good. They're very good in transition defensively. Very good. And they're very much the defensive team. So with that being said, that's a problem that we can solve. Now, I feel like Jaden McDaniels can do a better job in getting around screens. I do think that he can do that. Not only do I feel like he can do a better job in getting around screens, I think that they all can. Yes, I can appreciate that Joker is one of the better screen setters in the league. Yes. I think he's one of the better screen setters in the league. And it's hard to get around a guy that big when you're getting set, when you're getting screened that much. It's hard to get around a guy like that. I can dig that, sure. I can 100% dig that. However, we practice getting around screens. We practice sticking on your hip. We practice trailing. We practice going under screens. Different looks, where different looks is what we practice and how to get around screens. So a guy like Michael Porter Jr., well, I can't play drop on him. And the reason why I can't play drop on him is because if you give him room as a shooter and at 6'10", it's going to be hard to recover. So I can't play drop on him. I got to trail him. I got to stay on his hip. Now, what he does, which is what all shooters do, is he's crafty, where he can make you foul. What he doesn't want to do, however, is he doesn't want to put the ball on the floor. So Jaden McDaniels has to be smarter in how he trails him. If I'm on his hip close enough that once he comes off that screen with Joker, where there's a dribble handoff, I don't want to run too fast where I end up running him over, but I still want to stay with him. And what can I really do? Right? What can I really do with a guy like MPJ? Stay on his hip, get a hand in his face. He's a right-handed shooter, which means that the left hand is the closeout hand, and make it hard on him. That's really all you can do. Chase him off the long ball line and make him put the ball on the floor, which is what I felt like Minnesota was doing. I felt like Minnesota did a good job at that. And because they did a good job at that, that affected guys like Jamal Murray. That affected guys like KCP. That affected guys like Christian Brown. Yes, 100% it affected those guys. And the reason why it affected them is because guys like Christian Brown, very comfortable shooting wide open looks. When you close out like Anthony Edwards does, when you close out like Alexander Walker does, with the right hand, closing out high, you chase him off that long ball line. I got Rudy underneath the basket waiting for you. And if there's a 2-dribble pull-up, I'm already there, which is what was going on. 100% that was going on. So I can dig it. I can absolutely, I can appreciate that. Now, offensively, I think that their defense created a lot of their offense, and I think that helped. Cat's one of those guys who he can be so much more effective if he didn't foul as much. And I think one of the main reasons why he fouls the way he does is because the same reason with Damian Lillard. I don't think he knows how to play defense. Like that 4-point play when he fouled Jamal Murray, one, we shouldn't have switched. He could have hedged enough, right? He could have hedged enough and just to hold him enough to get Alexander Walker to come back. If Jamal Murray wants to crack that 3, no problem. Sure. But we don't need to switch that. We don't. You could stay high enough and you have enough room to get back to Joker. And if Joker wants to crack the 3, knock yourself out, big man. I feel like that's a win for us. I don't feel like it's a win in the aspect of when Giannis shoots the long ball. No, I don't think it's like that. No. Pardon me. I don't think it's that. However, I do feel like if I can get Joker to shoot the long ball, I feel like he's letting me off the hook. That's why I feel like there's no reason why we need to switch 1s and 4s, 1s and 5s. No. And I feel like with Cat, he could be smarter defensively. He could be a little smarter defensively. If he was, I don't think that he would get himself in foul trouble. And I think that comes from him not understanding how to close out, who to switch on. Like, he shouldn't be switched on to Jamal Murray. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I don't like that at all. He should not be switched on to Jamal Murray. Just like MPJ shouldn't be switched on to Anthony Edwards. There's action during the game where MPJ is standing in front of Anthony Edwards, and you can see him waving the double team over. Like, when I say he's waving the double team over, he's waving the double team over, not so we can jump Anthony Edwards, but please come help me with him because I can't stay in front of him. No, he is not my responsibility. He can't be my responsibility. Hell no. Because if he is, I'm in trouble. I am in a lot of trouble. So I feel like they did a good job on the glass dealing with Denver. I feel like they did a really good job on the glass, and I feel like they did a great job. I feel like they did a great job of keeping Joker away from the rim. Don't get me wrong. I feel like Joker, when he was at the rim, he was effective. But I feel like with their action, I feel like they did a good job in keeping him away from the rim. And of the 9 threes that he shot, there were a few of them that, I mean, don't let the number 9 fool you. I mean, he shot one at the end of the half. He shot one when the shot clock was going down. But I want that, though. And the reason why I want that in terms of him shooting with the shot clock going down, that means that our defense is damn good. And that's where he is. Rudy had him at arm's length. You want to shoot that long? You want to shoot the long ball? Go ahead, brother. Knock yourself out. Knock yourself out. And Denver's got their hands full with these guys. Denver has their hands full with these guys. Let me tell you. I'm looking at this series, and I'm on record saying it. Denver has to win tonight. And if Denver doesn't win tonight, I'm not sure we come. I don't think we come. I'm going to say it. I don't think we're coming back to Denver. I don't think we're coming back here. If Minnesota goes up 2-0 and wins tonight, which I don't think they're going to win, I think Denver bounces back. But if Minnesota does win, I don't think we're coming back here. Because Minnesota's staple travels. Offense doesn't always travel. You're gonna have games on the road where you shoot bad. You're gonna have games on the road where you don't take care of the basketball. You're not really that much in rhythm. You're gonna have games like that. That's gonna happen. Your defense always travels. Your defense always travels. Great teams, great defensive teams. We take our defense with us everywhere we go. We take our defense. The bags for our defense are always packed. Always. So, in closing, I will say this Minnesota team, I love what they're doing defensively. I love what their rotation guys have done. And I think that defensively, this can continue. This can continue. I don't think that we have a team where we have to worry about them lacking or coming out lackadaisical. No, I don't think we have a team like that. I don't think they're a team that way. I think that they're a team that's going to, especially against the Denver Nuggets, the defending NBA champs, that are always on edge. Always. I think that we're going to, especially going up against a team like the Denver Nuggets, that's the defending NBA champs, and it's the playoffs. I think that we're dealing with a team. I think we're going to be dealing with a team that's going to consistently be on edge. And I think their defense is going to show that. And I've said this to you guys already, and I stand on it. I feel like the longer this series lasts, the better it is for Denver. I'm sorry, the better it is for Minnesota. Not Denver. The better this is for Minnesota. The longer this series lasts. The reason why I feel like that is because Minnesota's defense, the more that they lay on Denver, the more it's going to wear on them. Excuse me. The more it's going to wear on them. So I don't want to talk about Anthony Edwards being the next Jordan. I don't like that, man. And the reason why I don't like that is because number one, it's obvious that we're not done with the 90s or the 80s when we still comparing guys to those guys. So it's obvious that we're not done, right? It's obvious that we're not done with the 90s because we're still comparing these guys. Plus, Anthony Edwards, I just want to see him turn into a player. I was high on him when he first showed up. I think he's fantastic. I feel like his mid-range game, there was a point, I feel like his mid-range game is going to be elite. There was a point during the season, I think he was shooting like 47% in the mid-range. close to 50% in the mid-range during the season. That's elite. And I feel like with his game, I feel like, and his confidence level, I feel like he's just going to get better. I feel like his ball handling is going to improve. I feel like his IQ of the game, because as of right now, he doesn't really know much. It might look like he does, but he doesn't. He doesn't. Anthony Edwards is one of those go guys. And when you run into a team with a bunch of vets, that go guy, he can get slowed down. He can definitely get slowed down. And I feel like Anthony Edwards isn't where he's going to be. But what people want to do is they want to put him in that space where Anthony Edwards is the next thing. Maybe he is. I just want to watch him turn into a great player. That's what I want to do. Just like I did with Jordan, just like I did with Bryant, just like I did with Shaq, just like I did with Olajuwon. I want to watch this dude turn into a great player. I do. And I think he will. I 100% believe that he will, because I feel like he's got the tools necessary to do that. I feel like he's got the tools necessary to do that. And when he's on his game like he's been throughout the playoffs, he's pretty difficult to stop as a scorer. But that's not what impresses me with him. What impresses me with him is his ability to slide his feet, his ability to get his hands busy, his ability to understand defenses, know when to switch, know which hand to block shots with. That stuff is what impresses me with him. Now, he still has to understand how to decipher switches, how when guys slip screens to get him the basketball. Like, he still has to understand that. He ain't there yet, but I feel like he will be there. I feel like he will be there, and when he is there, I think we're going to have a completely different conversation about him. I'm already on record saying I do think that at some point he's going to be the league MVP. I do believe that. And I think 2 years tops, the 2025-26 season, he'll be the best two guard in the game. And I think it'll be undisputed. Even if I do like another guy, even if I do think another guy is good. It's unlike when I saw Bryant and when I saw James. I couldn't deny Bryant was the best player on the planet in 2010, even though I still thought James was a better player. I couldn't deny it. After what Bryant had done, I couldn't. I feel like with Anthony Edwards, I don't think that there will be a better player at the two guard spot than him. I don't think so. In the next, I don't think that we're going to be. I don't think we're going to have a conversation. I feel like it's going to be a point where he leaps these other guys. And at this moment, I still think Donovan Mitchell is the best two guard in the game. I still think that. And he's shown, even with him not hobbled, but he doesn't seem to have that lift that he had like last year, where he dunks on guys or he's playing above the rim. He's playing below the rim. He's still playing below the rim. Donovan Mitchell played above the rim last year. He played above the rim this season, but there seems to be something missing where he's not playing above the rim. And I know that there's something going on. But he's so smart, he's so crafty, he's so skilled that he can still do it. He can still do it like he's doing it. Still score it with the best of them. He knows when to turn it on. He knows what spots he wants to get to. He will not be out physical. He can get past anybody and get whatever shot he wants, which I really dig about him. He's having a career year this year, so I really like that about. I really like Donovan Mitchell in the aspect that he's still at the top of his game. I don't think Anthony Edwards is at the top of his game yet. I think he's on his way to being there. And I'm not going to rush him to get there. No, I'm not going to rush him to get there. This series is going to be really interesting. Definitely is going to be interesting. So I'm interested to see how the Knicks do against Indiana this series. I do think that they handle them, though. I do think that. I do think that they handle those guys. And because of that, because of that, I think the Knicks are going to move on to the East Finals. I do think that. And I think we're gonna. I think we're gonna have a. I think we're gonna have a Boston, New York East Finals in both hockey and pro basketball. I do think that, and it's gonna be great. It is. It's gonna be great. I really like what I'm seeing in these playoffs because I feel like I feel like we're going off. We're getting away from the elder statesmen, and I think that's dope. Now, if Minnesota beats, if Minnesota ends up beating, if Minnesota ends up beating Denver, so we're clear, guys. We're gonna have the 6th different NBA champion in the last 6 years. Since I've been around, the league has never had this much parity. Never. We've never had this much parity. No, Theo, I'm not ready to call him the best in the East. I will say that we're having a conversation, but he ain't better than Giannis. So he's having a great season. I'm not going to argue that, but he ain't better than Giannis. Giannis, on the other hand, who we do have to have a conversation about at some point, because it's the 2nd year in a row. This is the 2nd year in a row that this team has been out in the first round. Giannis played at an MVP level this year. I don't think Giannis played at a high level. He played at an MVP level this year. And with that being said, I'm good on guys like why does everybody have to be better than Jason Tatum? Why is that so important? I'm not going to get into this conversation with you dudes. You dudes, so I'm good. What's up, Amari? How you doing, brother? What's up?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. What up?
Yeah, no, I wanted this. I do agree with your points about Anthony Edwards. He's special. You can see it. He's special. I think.
Yes, he is.
The only thing for me is that once he realizes that, in my opinion, like his defensive value, I don't think he even understands it at this point. And
I
how
don't think
much
he does either. I don't think he does either. I think you're right on that. I do.
And his athleticism. I think, you know what, to be fair, like when people are comparing him to Kobe and Michael, I think it's obviously premature. But I also think that, but in terms of his skill set, his physical kind of dimensions, I think they remind him of, especially Jordan more so. He's probably a bit bigger than Kobe, but I think the abilities for him to slide his feet, his moving over screens isn't the best. But I think if you're in front of him, he gives you problems. And I think for the Timberwolves and the Nuggets series, I think I listened to some of the panels today and talking about what the Nuggets can do. I think it's going to cause Nuggets a couple problems. I think part of the issue is you have 3 bigs, which is part of the problem that the Lakers didn't have. You have 3 bigs.
Mm-hmm.
You have 2 offensive bigs, and you have 1 defensive big that is just going to stay home on you. And they've got the offensive big in Karl Anthony Towns to guard him, which I think is a very smart move by their coach. Because what it means is that they're going to basically try and neutralize Jokic, or at least going to pay him to a T with Karl Anthony Towns. And one of the things, if you look at Jokic's stat line from the last game, I mean, it's still impressive. I mean, somebody who's giving you 32, 9, and 8.
Of course.
I'm happy. But
yes.
At least you're not giving me 32, 20, and 9, which is what he was giving.
We can't survive that. We can't survive that.
You can't beat that.
We can't.
And it helps. Now, Jokic, when he was going down low on Gobert, he was scoring every time. That wasn't an issue. The issue is that I remember watching, there's a specific play, I think it was in the 3rd quarter, I watched Jokic run back up the court after they kind of did the I think it was a Carl Anthony Towns kind of switched out and he had to go and contest the 3-point. He was breathing hard. And one of the things as well, like you need to give somebody like Jokic. Not everybody says he's going into better shape. Test how much better shape he's in. We're gonna run 3 big men at you at every single play, and we're gonna give you 3 different looks. You're gonna have to guard us. And I think it's difficult when you have Anthony Davis, for example, the Lakers series, where essentially speaking, it's him and LeBron, and you have the ability for Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is going to take plays off defensively because he has too much of an offensive load and he can't go at you. He's tired. But if I'm using different players to give you different looks, while on the other end, I've got what's his face? I've got Anthony Edwards guarding Jamal Murray.
Sure.
And you can stay in front of him. And also, when I'm Gobert, I can also play off Jokic to a point where that flipping back cut that Aaron Gordon does, where he gets the alley-oop, is neutralized when he's running to the rim because I can see him coming. And I don't have to play off him because he's not shooting the free very well. The only person I would say you have to worry about in this series, in that sense, with the Nuggets, even their bench lineup, there is Michael Porter Jr. because he's coming off screens and he's so big.
Yes.
Like he can shoot straight over the top of you. He's basically the same height as Jokic.
Yes. He a bit of 6'10". Yes, he's a bit of 6'10". And moves faster. So I'm thinking a guy like Jaden McDaniels, if he could just stay on his hip and not foul, because again, when he runs off that screen, Joker screens him. Joker screens whoever is covering MPJ. He screens them where this whatever guy it is creates so much space. And the fact that MPJ is 6'10", once he raises up, it's almost impossible to get to his shot. So I can't play drop. Right. So he's not. Joker's not a small dude. Joker's 275. So once he sets that screen, okay, I'm almost in no man's land, Amari, because one, I can't play drop because if I play drop, he'll just go behind the screen and crack it. Yes. And I can't get to that, so I can't play drop. I also, when I'm trailing the screen, I got to make sure that I at least stay on his hip and stay within arm's length. Because if I don't, and I give him more than enough room, I'm basically in no man's land. Also,
he's going over the top of you.
Right, he's 6'10", and he's gonna shoot right over the top of me, and I can't get to that. That was the problem that the Lakers had.
Exactly.
And that's the problem that the Lakers had with Austin Reeves being small, with
D'Lo,
Taurean Prince and D'Lo, with those guys being small. I can't do anything with that. So if Jaden McDaniels can do a better job in getting around screens and staying on MPJ's hip and just making it hard on him and chasing him off the long ball line, I think that they got a shot.
You have to make MPJ put the ball on the floor. Like I've seen him with the ball on the floor. He's not comfortable with the ball on the floor. You have to make him put the ball on the floor. And one of the things, they're going to have to hedge a lot of screens with Jokic. And they're basically going to have to just make sure that every time MPJ runs, you're going to have to just basically get him to trail, create McDaniels to trail him as much as he can, and just hope that he misses. And one of the things as well, like you said, is that if Jokic, one of the things when they were missing a lot of shots, is that Jokic will go into scorer mode. I do like it actually when he goes into that kind of, he gets really aggressive because he's trying to score the ball. And I think the Timberwolves can bait Jokic into doing it. I don't know if they can sustain that, if he can keep scoring on them. But again, they have enough length. And one of the things I think as well, that people are overestimating, I'm not saying that they didn't play well and haven't played well, but this is not the Lakers. They have enough to go at the Nuggets. And quite frankly, if you think about the Nuggets lineup, would you not say that the next 4 best players in this series are on the Timberwolves? After Jokic,
Edwards, Jamal Murray,
Gobert.
At least 3 of them.
At least 3 of them.
I think
Gobert is probably the 2nd or 3rd best player in the series. And I think Karl Anthony Towns is probably the 4th.
Yes.
Maybe after.
Which means that Minnesota has 3 of the 4 best players in this series.
Exactly. So Jokic, if this is close, and I don't think defensively it's close. I don't think it's close defensively.
No, it's not. And Denver's got a damn good team defensively.
Yeah.
They do a lot of good things defensively. They ain't Minnesota, though. They're not.
But Minnesota has been number 1 in defense for the majority of the season. And the only reason why I think a lot of people are forgetting about Minnesota, I think it's because a lot of people didn't watch their game. That Minnesota was the number 1 team in the West before Karl Anthony Towns went down. They were the number 1 team significantly for most of the portion of the season.
They missed out on the number 1 seed by 1 game.
Exactly, and everybody thought it was going to fall off a cliff.
Right.
And I think
And
this is going to be it's going to be if they don't win tonight, I still think Denver can get maybe 1 or 2 games just because of the inexperience of this team.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the injection of a bit old. I like the injection of having Mike Conley and on that team. He keeps them very calm. He doesn't do stupid stuff. He's a very old, heady point guard. He can crack a free. He will stay in front of you for a little bit. He's old, but he will stay in front of you. Edwards to me is, when you said about him being the best 2 guard in the league, I think, or coming up to that point, it will be next year. It's next year.
I said 2 years tops, Amari. That's as far as I'm not going past 2 years. That's as far as I'm going. It could be.
Yeah.
It could very well be next year. I'm only going 2 years tops. That's as far as I'm going.
And I agree with you. Like I think, depending on how Mitchell plays for these playoffs, I think he's gonna give you a good reminder of who he is. I mean, that Celtic, he's gonna go off. I mean, they're gonna lose. They're gonna lose in about 5. However, Mitchell is gonna put up a lot of points. Whereas Edward, to me, the gap between Edwards and Mitchell will be the defense and how much they can play on a championship team as being a number 1. But I think this series is going to be like a very fun series. Because I like game 1. Game 1 was a very good game. And I think both of the coaches are very smart. And they're not too much better than each other. And I think the Nuggets, to me, I'm not saying that Nuggets are overconfident. But what I'm saying to you is that I do believe that they're not playing the Lakers. And I think playing the Lakers in the sense of being LeBron and Anthony Davis, it gives you a kind of false sense of reality when it's like, these guys are not necessarily the best 5 teams in the West, and they haven't been Minnesota, who have every personnel to stop you. That's one of the things you got to look at in the series. I think when you have all of the defensive personnel,
they match up everywhere. They match up
everywhere. And I think they overmatch them in positions as well, to be honest. And I think Aaron Gordon is going to be the thing that makes a break. If he can't make shots outside the paint, Minnesota is not giving him anything. And just one quick thing as well. I am so happy for Rudy Gobert. I'm happy for Rudy Gobert that when you give him perimeter defenders and you don't basically make every wing switch onto their perimeter defenders like they did in Utah, drag him out the paint and shoot threes over him, everybody says he's a trash defender. You can see how much he affects the game with him being in the paint. They can't get into the paint. They can't score over him. They can't. The only person who can score on Gobert is Jokic. Even on the perimeter, he's fine. So I'm glad that now everybody can see his defensive versatility and his prowess. He's going to win his 4th DPOY. Like I said, this is not a Utah team as well. He's not on Utah anymore. They have all of the personnel that can make Rudy go the player.
I feel like this is the year for Minnesota to do it too. I do. I feel like this, if they're going to do it, I feel like this is the year for them to do it. I think Boston's going to win the NBA championship, but I feel like this Minnesota team, if they're going to really, they're the only team that I felt like could challenge Denver in the West.
Yes, I said the same thing as well.
I thought that they were the only team. I did not like that. Even before the season started, I hated that Laker matchup. I didn't like it.
Yes.
I was thinking if the Lakers could avoid them, I feel like they got a shot in the West. But they don't have a chance against those guys, which they didn't.
I don't know about yourself, but I haven't been overly impressed with the last 5 games of Denver versus the Lakers. I wasn't overly impressed by them.
I wasn't either. I wasn't either.
I think when you play a team that you know you can beat, and I think honestly, if the Lakers, I hate these hypothetical arguments, but maybe if LeBron was maybe 2 years younger, maybe he would have maybe brought it to 6. I still think they would have lost ultimately, but I don't think that they played that well for me to justify that they should be able to walk through Minnesota or the rest of the Western Conference. I think a lot of these, I don't think so. And even with the Celtics matchup, I don't think. I think the Porzingis injury is a problem for the Celtics.
Huge.
Because he takes away their kind of versatility, especially in the paint, and he gives them a different look. So it's going to be an interesting thing to see how they recover. I mean, if he can come back by, when do you think he'll be back? Do you think he'll be back by the Western Eastern Conference?
To be honest with you, Amari, I think he's out for the playoffs.
Oh God, yeah, it's done.
I do. I think he's out for the playoffs. I don't think he's. I think that they're sugarcoating this. If this was, and you've heard me say this before about like specific players, if this was this time, Mari, if this was January, he'd be out till All-Star break.
Yeah, I agree with you. What do you think it is with these players with their calf strains?
Well, first of all, he's a bigger guy, and it's a lot. Same thing with Giannis. Giannis is a transition player. Giannis gets up and down the floor. Plus, Giannis has been in the league for a while. Giannis is in year 10. So it's starting, don't get me wrong, and I still think Giannis, he's got some years ahead of him. But I mean, that player was here, but playing like that, I feel like he's got to change his game because I think Giannis at this level, I think he'll be 30 years old in December. I think he's got probably 3-4 more years at this level playing like that before he starts slowing down. I do believe.
Do you think it's his last championship with the Bucks? That last championship with the Bucks, do you think that's the only one he's going to get while he's still there?
No, I don't. I think that they have an opportunity to upgrade that roster, and I don't think that they have to do something drastic. They got to get a wing defender, and I feel like they got to upgrade at the 5 spot because I think Brook Lopez is a little long in the tooth. So I think they got to upgrade at the 5 spot. And I think they got to get a wing defender. I feel like they'll be right back in the middle of it, right back. So
just a quick question before I head out: how big do you think the gap is between Jokic and Giannis? I just wanted to get your opinion there because I feel like everybody's kind of said, that's kind of big. It's not a chasm, but it's kind of big.
And the reason why I say that is because of the better offensive player that Joker is. I feel like Giannis is. I feel like Giannis clears him defensively, but how much Joker affects the game offensively, that's why I have it like this.
You think the gap can be closed?
No, I feel like Giannis is who he is. I just feel I don't think that there's. I don't think we're getting any. We're in year 10. I don't think we're getting any more from Giannis. I think what you're going to get this moment from moving forward is just this play. And I think it's just going to be steady, like 31, 29, 30, 11. I think you're going to get stuff like that. I don't think that mid-range jump shot, the long ball, if it was going to improve, it would have improved already.
Yeah, I agree. I did the same age as well.
Yes. All right, brother. Good to talk to you. What up?
So first of all, respect my Panthers. We're gonna win against Boston. All I know, I just hate Boston.
I think they beat y'all in 5 games. Your defensemen are whack, yo. Your transition defense is whack.
So I just hate Boston, bro. I can't.
I understand that. I do understand that.
Like,
I get that.
I know they're a better team, but I just hate them, bro. I can't, bro. I can't.
I hate Boston. Bro. I don't even care if they got the better team. I just hate Boston.
I'm a Miami guy, like
right.
After you remember our conversation, like around like the playing games.
I do remember that. Yes, I do remember that.
And you see how everything I said pretty much came true. That's really all I want. That's what I want to see. I mean, but everybody knew this was gonna happen. Their two egos clashing, Pat Riley and Jimmy. But I still don't think Jimmy was gonna get his extension.
Well, first of all, let's get to the bottom of something. This doesn't mean we breaking up. No. Yo, shut the hell up. That's all. I don't mean we got to break up. No. I don't think that at all.
Like he said, just retool. But like, what I want to say about Jimmy, I don't know. I just don't feel like after this year, if we can't win the finals, I'm just off of Jimmy after this year because it seems like he's gonna keep him this year. But after next year, in the words of your friend that you're about to be on the show on, you better get off early rather than later. I want to get off early. So like that's all I have to say.
All right, brother. Good to talk to you. I feel like the Miami Heat have gotten everything that they were going to get out of Jimmy Butler. He got there in the 2019-2020 season. That was 5 years ago. And in the 5 years that he's been in Miami, he's been an All-Pro 3 times, right? He's been an All-Pro 3 times. He's been an All-League defender. Took that team to the NBA championship. Took that team to the NBA championship twice. Took them to the East Finals. Took them to the East Finals 3 times. So I feel like everything that you were going to get out of Jimmy Butler, he's going to be 35 on opening night. Everything that you were going to get out of him, you got it. That's just it. That's it. What up?
Yo, what up, Chill?
What's up, brother?
Man, just another day. Let me ask you. You called the Cavs right, man. You was on the Cavs train early.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't fold, although I thought they was gonna fold against Orlando. It's looking a little shaky there, but they pulled it off.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think their chances are going up against Boston?
I don't like them at all. And the reason why I don't like them is because their offense isn't as good as Boston's offense. I think their defense is damn good, and I think their defense is going to keep them in games. But offensively, I don't think that that's enough. And Boston's got pretty damn good defense. I think that's the issue. But as far as what they ended up doing, I mean, Minor, you got kids, you got nephews or whatever it is, and you know your little nephew. Like he might come out, but you know, at some point he's gonna run out of gas, and you're gonna pin him.
Yep.
At some point he's gonna run out of gas, and
Yeah.
that's kind of what they were. That's what they were doing with the Orlando Magic. At some point, these dudes gonna run out of gas, and they did.
They did.
Like
They did. Looking at the other game for tonight, the Nuggets looking a little shaky. They looking real shaky,
Mike,
and
that's
health ain't on their side.
No, it's not. And when you running up when you running up on the 85 Bears, right? When you running up on the 03 Tampa Bay Bucks, right? You running up on the 01 Ravens.
Ravens, yeah,
you're
man.
gonna look even worse defensively when you running up on a crew like that.
Yeah. And looking like the second coming of Kobe. I mean, his mid-range game. Shout out to Team USA. I hope that was a shining endorsement for all the other young players in the NBA to see how much he improved over the summer playing in Team USA.
If you think about it, Minor, even back when the Dream Team first started in '92, history has shown us that when you play for Team USA, somebody off that crew is going to come off that crew and be awesome. We've seen that. Barkley won the league MVP the next year.
He did.
Right? Grant Hill started turning into what he turned into in '96. This is only in I think it was year 2.
So,
yep. Right, year 2. So, I mean, in 2000, Garnett and somebody on that USA team is going to turn into something special. We've seen that over the years, and that's just part of it. I would think that a guy like Anthony Edwards, right? I would think that a guy like Anthony Edwards, Team USA would endorse him more to get the younger guys to get more younger guys to come play. Like, look what we got. Look what we got. And we probably got him for 8 more years, 2 more Olympics. So come on down, guys. But to Kyrie Irving's point, and I think Kyrie Irving was right when he said I was around when you had to try out for the team, which I can appreciate that too. 100% I can appreciate that.
Yeah, well, you had to actually earn your spot.
Yes.
But I think the competition was a little different back then. You know, a lot of guys now, they got their own trainers, they got their own teams behind them, keeping them going. So I don't think they necessarily see it the same way Ant does. I think looking at Ant, looking at Tyrese, looking at Wemby, looking at the Rockets, the Thunder. I think we had that conversation earlier about, man, what is the NBA gonna look like once James and Durant and Kyrie are gone? And before this season, I was like, man, I don't know. I don't know how well the league is gonna be able to hold up. I'm confident. The league is gonna hold up real well.
100% it's in good hands. No doubt about that. The league is definitely in good hands. These people that are in charge, they got the right people. 100% they do. So, all right, Minor, you know where to find me at, bro? Yes, sir. Corey, my good man, what's the story?
Hey, what's good, OG? How you doing tonight?
What's up, brother?
Hey, doing well. Figured I'd hop on. It's all
your mic is a little scratchy.
Hold on.
Yeah, your mic is a little bit scratchy.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, you hot. Now you hot.
Do I sound better now?
Yep, now you hot.
All right, I'm sorry about that.
No problem.
All right, so I was just curious. This hype train for Minnesota is getting pretty wild. Well, Denver just got punched in the mouth.
Is it really a hype train?
Like, are we forgetting how powerful Denver is, man? Are we forgetting how powerful Denver is?
Well, you can't forget who the world champ is. Let's not jump the gun here. They still the world champs. They still got the best player on the planet on their crew. Let's not do that. However, it's not like Minnesota came out of nowhere. You know, they gave up 4 first-round picks. You and I actually had this conversation a year ago when you, my good man, Ori, said, is this the worst trade in NBA history? Well, it's kind of looking like it's one of the best trades in NBA history, to be quite honest with you. It's actually looking really good. So to hand over 4 first-round picks.
Gee. My guy, I didn't know you kept receipts.
I did.
You're killing me.
Yes,
You're
I
killing
do.
me.
Yes, I do. I do.
Yeah, clearly.
I
Oh
I
man.
got one of those things called the photogenic memory, and there's a lot of stuff that I do remember. And with that being said, Ori, I mean this Minnesota team didn't come out of nowhere. I'm on record saying, Ori, that what I envisioned with the two bigs, with both Rudy Gobert and Cat, I envisioned this last year, but Cat got hurt, so he missed 54 games. So we weren't able to see this thing turn into what I thought it was going to turn into. I thought that he'd make Cat a better defender. I thought Cat would actually make Rudy better offensively and as a scorer, which actually did work. But the biggest thing before Cat got hurt was his health. That was the biggest thing, and it actually worked. So now we're in a space where this team didn't come out of nowhere. I mean, we're talking about a team that was already fantastic defensively with Rudy Gobert. Now you add Cat to that, who's healthy. Who, I mean, yeah, he had a bit of an issue for about a month and a half where he had to get out of the lineup. But because he stretches the defense, how good Anthony Edwards is, how good this team is defensively overall. Don't forget, no Nas Reed, no Jaden McDaniels last year in the playoffs, none. So now this year, all of these guys are healthy. Now we got something different, Ori. We got something completely different here, man. I'm not saying that Minnesota's winning the NBA championship. No, I'm not going that far. However, Denver got their hands full. And the longer this series lasts, the more I like Minnesota.
Yeah, this T-Wolves team. This maybe you've said it before, and I apologize if I make you repeat something. But is this the best T-Wolves team in franchise history?
Yes, 100% it is. Better than Spree and KG and Sam Cassell. That was the best team that they had previous to this one. This one right here, I don't think it's a question.
Yeah, that was what, 04, right? 04?
04, when the year that Kevin Garnett won the league MVP. This is 100% the best team that they've ever had, without a doubt.
And if I mentioned before, I don't know if I said it to you, but like if Anthony Edwards
keep talking,
at
Ori,
22 years old.
Keep talking, Ori. I'm listening to you.
Yeah, you're good. If Anthony Edwards at 22 years old is the best player already in a series with Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and Devin Booker, and then becomes the best player in a series with Joker, like what kind of conversations do we start having about Anthony Edwards? Oh, I don't know if he's able to hit me. Maybe I should just keep on going.
Well, I'll tell you what. When you're talking about when you're talking about a guy in Anthony Edwards who is turning into the player that he's turning into, I mean, Minnesota's got a bright future. I do feel like that. I do. Yes, I do.
Yeah.
To be quite honest with you, and I've said this to you already, Ori, Adam Silver wouldn't love anything more than to have Minnesota and the Celtics in the finals, because two of my young stars who are American are in the NBA finals. That does everything to push my league forward. Everything to push my league forward.
100%.
Makes my life
and
so
Anthony
much
Edwards is absolutely, and Anthony Edwards and Jason Tatum, for that matter, I think are super marketable. Marketable.
Yes, they are. I'm telling you right now, Ori, if these two teams end up in the NBA finals, every other commercial you see on TV is going to be Anthony Edwards or Jason Tatum. I promise you that. I promise you that. Watch.
Absolutely.
That's going to go on. I'm sure of it. So
I appreciate you, OG. It's good to see you. Hope you have an excellent rest of your night.
You know where to find me at, brother. Well, it's about that time for me, guys. It was good to see you guys tonight. It is the playoffs. That's really all I can say about this, man. It is the playoffs. It's the playoffs. This is what we waited for all year long. It's the playoffs, and it is now here. And now we're getting into the even better part of the playoffs, which means the better teams are playing against each other. When you get in the first round, you get some teams that are good, but when you get to the semifinals and you get to the East Finals and the West Finals, now you get the best. You get the creme de la creme. That's what we're getting here. And I'm here for it, man. I am here for it. I will see you guys soon. You know where to find me at. If I'm not here, I'm on TikTok in the morning, 9 a.m. Monday to Friday. I'm on the panel from 11 to 2, Monday to Friday, and I'm here, Chilltown Hoops, whether it's Monday night, Thursday night, or Friday night, I'm here. I'm not hard to find. So I will see you guys soon. But until then, put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother. When last time you talked to your mother? Call your mother. We'll see you guys soon. But until then, take it light. Take it. Absolutely, man. It was good.